Alright, greetings everybody, welcome to another video with me, Umber, and today we are going to be taking a look at the recap of a live stream that has actually not finished by the time that I'm talking. It's still kind of going, but the end of the stream was just a little bit dragging out, so we're going to just barrel right on through and talk about mostly everything that happened on the live stream. I say mostly everything because there's, of course, always a bunch. And one of the things first to talk about is how the live stream started, which was a long and, for the most part, fairly annoying bit of just going over this, which is the the guild battle changes that are going to be happening with reserve units. Basically, AP players have resoundingly said that they are not fans of this new system and are not happy with it, and it kind of makes sense. It's a little bit more convoluted for something that was generally straightforward. It's not the more obvious thing that they probably just should have done in the first place, and what's more too, it's just more expensive for the players, and not just in money potentially, but time too. But yeah, I can see why most players are not happy about this and don't want this system. This stream, focusing right on this from the get-go, basically tells you why this stream essentially did happen, because this is one of the things that they really want to address with the community, and so far the thing to note is that it looks like the community is still unhappy. So there you go. Now, before we get any further, let's get one interesting thing out of the way, which is that apparently Valentine's Day just doesn't exist this year. I'm not joking. Apparently on stream, they said that there's just not going to be a Valentine's Day unit this year, which is kind of surprising, seeing that Valentine's Day units, our seasonal units, have been kind of a tradition for a long time. Sorry, cat. Yeah, Valentine's Day units have been a long time tradition, and it is a little worrying when they start to cut lower cost units, because the schedule is almost pure at this point. 100 cost units, it's pure limited time units or semi-limited time units. It really is getting a little bit tiring, and the fact that we are just getting less and less pure units that are just constantly in the pool is not an encouraging thing either. So yeah, this isn't inherently doom or gloom or anything, but it is something that's really noteworthy, that I guess this is where the change is coming. So let's skip ahead and now talk about the major thing that's going to be the content for the next little bit, which is a collaboration. And the collaboration this time is with Final Fantasy XIII, and it is a repeat collaboration. So some of the things you can expect from this: first off, you can expect basically a limited amount of new content, a considerable amount of upgrades for some older characters, which could make them quite relevant, and kind of patching up and finishing off a bunch of stuff while also leaving a question in my mind. But yeah, 13 is coming back. It will be starting on the 14th of February. Fang is the one new character for this collaboration, and then after that, there will be some upgrades and enhancements for the Final Fantasy 13 characters who are already in the game, but not too terribly much else. So let's talk about the major thing, which is our new character, Fang, who has been switched from the wind element before to the lightning element now. And I mean, first off, when we see characters in game, we should never take it as, you know, dogma, essentially, that that's just going to be the way that the character is when they come to the game, because yeah, it just isn't the case, and things can change, and it definitely has here. So for people who were scared that this was going to be another wind spear, don't worry, there's probably still reasons to be scared of a new spear unit, but thankfully, Fang, while making the jump to, get it, made the jump to the lightning element, has actually retained a low cost at 90. I'm curious whether this was always the intention, whether she was always supposed to be a 90 cost character, or if it was changed to deal with maybe some negative feedback, because there is no other character coming on the 14th, and a 90 cost character only is a bit surprising with just all the other 90 costs. So yeah, that's something of note. Hope will still be a free character, which is generally a good thing, and we have a boatload of updates here with the Limit Burst. Now, of course, I did have all of these in my mind recently, but taking a look at it, I'm a little overwhelmed, so I'm just going to get my screenshot here and go over it while we continue on. So starting off with Lightning, first thing you'll note is the AP cost has been dropped down to 33, which is generally pretty much cheaper. The Limit Burst now increases own flash resistance penetration for 3 turns, reduces target's own critical damage resistance for 3 turns, deals the 3 hits large damage, reduces I got a bad shot there, so it wasn't quite. Reduces lightning resistance for 3 turns, increases own CT when a critical occurs a small amount. So big note to me here, 1, this is cheaper to cast, which is good. You want these Limit Bursts cheap, you want them to have good range on them, and you want them to end up paying off nicely. Lightning's, I think, does a particularly good job. Slash attack resistance penetration is just good for her entire kit, and dealing extra lightning damage is also a good thing. Hi, Sora. So yeah, that is looking pretty good. Snows will be, as you can see, it is a larger AoE now. Damage after reducing target's attack resistance for 3 turns. Stun effect, preventing actions for a single turn. Nullification of float. Seal removal of guts effect. So basically, if you have survive a fatal hit, that cannot be removed if this attack goes off. Also, regen effect with AP consumption down while a regeneration effect is in effect, with a cost reduction from 49 to 39, which is generally pretty cheap. So big things with Snow, I mean, it's more flexible with just a larger AoE. You have a better chance of hitting your opponent because you don't have to worry about him being directly in front of you. Being able to protect Immortal Spirit is pretty nice, and the HP regeneration and everything, it looks pretty good. Last is Hope. Now, Hope's big thing looks to be, well, first off, getting 2 range increases. It also now has higher accuracy. It affects elemental chain resistance, basically decreasing that for the opponent, and gives him a barrier as well as some more survivability against physical type damage, which is pretty nice. So yeah, it's tough to say how well these are good in just a vacuum without seeing the numbers. My personal favorite is just Lightning because she's still pretty relevant. Snow, I think, also has a decent chance, but Hope has the longest to go potentially. Now, it should be noted that Hope is being added to the glove category for weapons, so if you're curious about where he will fit in, he's now basically a glove user, which is a little disappointing because I was kind of hoping for a little bit more towards, well, essentially having a new weapon class, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Moving on. Now let's talk about Lightning's new friend and the Lightning Element's new character, Fang, who is a spear-based character. Limit Burst is a 2-part ability, which is kind of interesting. First off, you see on the left image that is the range. It is a single target ability that will hit the opponent, and then it has a secondary effect that hits the area around where you attack. So if you hit a unit, if there are any other units in that diamond AoE outside of it, they get a secondary hit that basically takes a portion of the damage, which is pretty good. It depends, of course, always on the portion about how much that actually is, but there you go. So it's a highly powerful attack that increases defense penetration rate for the target, fixed percentage of the damage L, single attack that spreads damage to the surrounding area. Now, the jobs for Fang are High Dragoon, which is the new Water Dragoon's job, so quite an updated jump job, as well as Operative for secondary job, or third job. So interesting combination there. Will be interesting to see how that directly affects her stats, but mostly Fang is looking like a physical based attacker that is quite good with barriers and barrier destruction, specifically anti-barrier destruction, for her next part of her kit, which we will hop over to in just a second, especially if I press the right buttons. All right, so taking a look at this, now we're going to take a look. So Area Blast 2, long cross range shade and seals physical barrier destruction effect. So this bottom left ability has an absolutely massive range. Now I'm under the assumption that this is a jump based attack, because if it isn't a jump based attack and it's an insta cast, it's potentially horribly broken. But she seems to be a spear-based Dragoon kind of jump job, so yeah, that's my assumption, at least until otherwise proven. Now, this ability, like essentially getting anti-barrier destruction, is really nice, because I like this on A2, and I like this even better here because it has such high range. You can potentially hit a target long before they end up getting to you, or at least long enough that this should be pretty effective. And where this will make Fang fit into, potentially with Soul on fire teams, potentially on Wind with, new characters there. There's a bunch of different characters that always love protecting those barriers and making those barriers stronger. Essentially it. Next ability, Buster and Shield 2, so increases own allies' attack speed, as well as single target attack resistance for, I believe, 4 turns, as well as adding a physical barrier to yourself for preventing a certain amount of damage, and increases own reaction prevention rate. So just a really good buff skill. 4 turns is much better than 3, as obvious, but also getting that barrier, which works in tandem with the ability that we talked about before about protecting barrier. Great stuff there. And then last ability, Dual Impact. Attacks the target, single target, after reducing piercing resistance for up to 2 enemies. So big thing here, great range on it, single target as opposed to AoE, can hit multiple targets, and you're making other spear damagers quite strong, to which, yeah, Wind Veritas would love this, Fly Glassy would love this, Old would love this. There's a ton of characters who would love to work with Fang on this. So great news there. Overall, my general impression of Fang seems to be quite strong. At a 90 cost, she isn't as hard to get as 100s. She's in a very strong element and a very strong damage type, and her abilities look really good with nice range. Of course, the question mark to me is if casting time is a problem at all, and whether or not she is just generally strong enough to really excel. Have to wait and see. Now, the old VCs will be returning, but we also have the new VC, the Bahamut and Fang VC, which, if I am correct, I do remember hearing it on screen. If I'm incorrect, I apologize, but the VC for this, for Bahamut, should be a free VC and a free holo VC. If I am incorrect on that, I will make a comment below, but that was my understanding, and I do believe I heard Accuracy and Human Killer up on this VC, which is also kind of scary if it is in the right groups to really excel lightning even further than it already is, could be kind of scary. As for other things, old weapons will be getting upgrades, challenge boards will be coming back, Hope's weapon will also be getting be returning for this event, and Fang will get a brand new spear. As for events, we'll be taking on Bahamut as well as Lassie, and we'll be taking on Bahamut in, of course, the good old-fashioned collaboration event. This time around, as you can see, we get some Fang titles, and we're going to be crafting Chocobo chicks. So, yay. I honestly don't know how to react to crafting Chocobos, unless the stuffed one, but anyway, moving on. There will also be a guild raid too, which is kind of interesting. We haven't seen one of those for a while. Collaboration will also come with a bunch of bonuses for a while. And now let's get to the next part, which I am excited to announce, that Wind Veritas can be gotten to 140, which is old news. Oh, Water Veritas can be gotten. That's old news. Oh, never mind. Here it is. So as of the 21st, Wind Veritas will be getting on JP his limit burst upgrade. Super excited about this. Don't remember hearing any criteria for this. Might require a quest that he needs to do or something to unlock it, but otherwise, Wind Veritas getting his limit burst is great news because all of the Veritas units will now be getting limit bursts in the future, and they deserve it. So super happy about that. Can't wait to see how strong it is. And finally, at the end of it, we'll have to do a final judgment on this character again, just to see what his final kit looks like. But very cool. Can't wait to see all of this over the long run. New story update for JP 37-2. And then we get into the trends, which is just going to be the last thing we talk about here, which is basically, all right, popularity contest. Glassy wins again on JP. Be angry if you want. I'm moving right the hell on with this one. Down to, oh, never mind. We do have one more thing to cover. Updates, mostly UI updates for the coming months to make things generally easier and better with all the affinity changes that have happened in the game, as well as a few other things here and there. Most important to me is that some of the updates to do with multi-interface on certain things, just repeat, is been pushed down to sometime in the future. So outside of March, as well as Trust Mastery Stone selectability is also been pushed quite far down. So that is a little annoying, because those were something that we were kind of teased at in the 4th anniversary, and here it is, still not here. Now, as for trends, gonna go through these really quick. Thunder Guild Battle top used characters are as follows, with Bridal Elia number 1, Squall at number 10, and I'll let you make what you will of that. Maybe we can do another video. Also, when talking about Reliquaries, for the higher difficulty Reliquaries, they did show off some teams tonight that are generally pretty successful. So the first one here, Wind and Light, and the second team that was shown off was Light and Ice. So maybe giving some players some ideas about how to beat them. Top 10 Espers used by skill, and Odin at number 1 should not be any kind of a surprise. Let you pause if you would like to take a deeper look at which ones are the most popular. There you go. VCs for the Elder update are as follows in terms of popularity. Let you pause there if you want to see some of the best to potentially update in the future for you guys on global. And Limit Burst upgrades by popularity, Flag Glassy at number 1 with Double Mont, and as follows. So there you go. That's basically everything that happened this evening. So hopefully you enjoyed this recap. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and probably do some more discussion as we get closer to that 13 and Wind Veritas date. See you later. Take care.